Hello everyone, welcome to Daily Current Affairs Analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy. Today we will be seeing the current affairs for the date of 12th of October. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel for regular updates. And we have an exciting news for our students. Shankar IAS Academy is coming with pre-storming. It's a UPSC Prelims test series for the prelims which will be held in the year of 2026. The batch 2 starts on 16th of October. You can call this number for further details or even you can scan the QR code which is mentioned below. The QR code will be visible in the document which is shared below. So we'll move on to the topics which we'll be discussing today. First topic is regarding the democratic reforms. So we will see about what do we mean by democratic reforms and the democratic reforms which have been taken in India across various domains. Second topic for discussion is India's mental health crisis. We will see why this crisis is so grave and the interventions which can be taken. Third topic is regarding the United Nations Peacekeeping Force. We will see briefly about this force and India's contribution towards this force. Fourth one is regarding the rare earth elements. We will see what these elements are and their applications in our day-to-day life. And fifth topic is regarding the prelims focus. These are the short notes topics which can be used for both prelims as well as mains. So we'll move on to this discussion. We'll start our today's discussion with democratic reforms. So this article is not, this discussion is not about Nepal, but about democratic reforms in India. So we'll get into this topic. So first thing is, democratic reforms refer to the continuous efforts undertaken to deepen and strengthen the democratic process by ensuring transparency, accountability, participation, and inclusiveness in governance. First aspect is to deepen and strengthen the democratic process, and these words, transparency, accountability, participation, and inclusiveness, these are like keywords which you need to include while you are writing answers, especially with regard to GS2 and even in GS4. So in India, reforms initially focused on elections and political processes, but now increasingly extend to other domains such as administration, judiciary, economy, and society, which are essential for achieving substantive democracy and not just procedural. So we will see about democratic reforms under various domains. In this, we will see about the aim for these reforms and examples of the reforms which have been taken so far. The first one is regarding political and electoral reforms. The main aim is to ensure that the elections are free and fair. So we can see what are the election reforms which are taken. For example, there is introduction of EVMs, there is introduction of VVPATs. Even we have NOTA, that is none of the above option for in place of while polling. Also, we have strengthening of institutions such as ECI. We have this stricter enforcement of model code of conduct, and we have also ensured transparency, highly curtail the use of money and power in during elections. So these are the examples of reforms which we have done regarding politics and elections. Along with it, we can also talk about legislative reforms. So what is the aim for it? It is to ensure that the lawmakers are of who get elected are of high integrity, and also to prevent, also to give stability to the government which is formed. So what are the reforms which have taken? So while making they are contesting for elections, their incidents should be clear. The criminal charges, the assets has to be published. That's one. The main important reforms regarding it is anti-defection law. So these are the reforms taken with that regard. The third domain rather is about the executive and administrative reforms. So these are the actually regarding to the action part of the government, which includes both political and permanent executives. This aim is to ensure that the governance is citizen-centric, transparent, accountable, etc. Now we'll see what are the examples of the reforms which have been taken. These includes citizen charter, RTI, etc. Third one is regarding the judicial reforms. This is to ensure that the judicial system is more speedy, it's more accessible and affordable to the people. So the examples with regard to the judicial reforms include the e-courts, then the judicial data grid, then about the establishment of fast track courts, etc. Next aspect is about the economic and financial reforms. So here the aim is to ensure that the finances which are being used for the country are transparent, efficient and accountable. So what are the, and even proper auditing is done. So what we have taken the reforms with this regard include the strengthening of CAG, that is Comptroller and Auditor General. Then we have the strict parliamentary committees. So these are the and even the direct benefit transfer using the JAM linkage, Jandan account, Aadhaar, mobile linkage. These are the examples with regard to it. Second is social and civil society reforms. This aim is to ensure better participation of people in the governance process. The examples for these reforms include social audits, even RTI can be included in this. With regard to this reforms, you can also include about the media reforms. The main reason is aim is to ensure freedom of speech and freedom of press is there. So what are the reforms which is taken? Here also you can include the RTI in it. You can also talk about the Press Council of India. So next aspect is regarding technological and digital reforms. The aim is to ensure that people are able to are digitally literate and able to have access, availability and affordability to digital technology. So you can mention examples of Digital India Mission, My Government examples. These are the examples which you can quote under these headings. The another aspect is regarding the environmental and ethical governance reforms. So there are two aspects. What is environmental and second is ethical governance. Under environmental reforms, the main aim is to ensure sustainability. So the examples include environmental impact assessment. In that EIA itself, there is a provisions for making the document available in the local languages. Next aspect is about the ethical governance. As the name suggests, to ensure that the governance is conducted in an ethical way. So in that also you need to include more citizen partnership. So what are the reforms we have taken in that? The main our greatest example is the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment, that is democratic decentralization. Then again you can quote about RTI. You can also talk about citizen charter, etc. So next one is regarding the global and international engagement. Its aim is to ensure that our principles and policies are aligned to the international standards. With this regard, you can quote examples of being a part of the United Nations Human Rights Council, etc. So this slide actually summarizes the examples regarding it. Some of them I have spoken and some of them I have not. So you can use it as a reference. The main aim of this article is that various domains have been spoken and aim has been spoken for those things and even examples are quoted. This can be directly asked in mains exam. So this will be highly useful for quoting in or for writing answers in mains exam. So we will see a mains practice question with regard to it. Sorry, it's actually mains, not prelims. The question is, democratic reforms in India must move beyond electoral changes to encompass institutional, administrative, and social dimensions. Discuss with suitable examples. This is exactly the article which we spoke. So we have to repeat the same thing in a proper manner. First thing you introduce it, you can say that initially we focused on electoral reforms, then we moved on to these things, or you can just talk about democratic reforms in short, give a short introduction about what do you mean by democratic reforms. So you can include mention as mentioned in the previous slide, it is for strengthening and deepening the democratic principles, which ensures increased accountability, transparency, etc. Then you can talk about the various reforms which have been taken under multiple domains, and also the explicitly they have mentioned to give examples. So you need to give examples and then conclude in a optimistic or a positive way. So that's it for this article. We'll move on to the next article. In this article, we will be discussing about India's mental health crisis. We will see the severity of it and also the possible interventions which can be done for it. So we'll get into this article. So these are the alarming incidents which have been happened recently in Shahjahanpur and Kota, Rajasthan. Unfortunately, it is more severe in Rajasthan because the students are committing suicides, school students. So these are not isolated cases but reflect a nationwide epidemic cutting across classes, professions and geographies. So we will see a data across India. So first one is the National Crime Records Bureau ADSI 2023, that is accidental deaths and suicides in India. It states that about there have been 1,72,000 suicides, that has been increased by 0.3% from 2022, and suicide rates are approximately 12.2 per lakh. There has been slight decline in it, probably because of population rise. And high suicide rate states include, or union territory, including union UTs include the Andaman and Nicobar, Sikkim and Kerala. Top states which contribute about 40% include the Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, MP, Karnataka and West Bengal. So unfortunately, there are states, these are states which can be termed as developed states. Still they contribute to high number of suicides, and men are about 73% of victims are men. So these are the data points which can be used in mains. So we'll see the major causes. The first one is the family problems, which contribute about 32%. Next is the illness. Next we have the relationship or marriage issues, which account for about 10%. And recently there have been incidents where men were committing suicides because of the harassment from wives, or rather ex-wives. Then also another aspect is substance abuse, which contribute to about 7%. So we'll see about the distress in agrarian sector. So about 11,000 farmer suicides have been reported, mostly from Maharashtra and Karnataka, and it's about 6.3% of it is about 6.3% of total as per the 2023 report. So since 2014, more than 1 lakh farmers have committed suicide, and the root cause include the debt, crop failure, market shocks, or institutional neglect. So what actually happens is there is a vicious circle of poverty. So you can actually draw a diagram also in explaining means. For example, what happens is the farmers usually take money from the money lenders, loan from the money lenders. The reason is they don't have much access to institutional credit. So what do you mean by institutional credit? That is the credit from banks, or you can even say they don't have access from credit from cooperatives, or even they don't even many of them don't form the self-help groups. And in India, majority of farmers are belong to the small and marginal farmer category. So they generally take the loan from the money lenders, which they need to give very less collateral, and but the rates are very high. So after taking the loan, they sow the crop. Unfortunately, in that particular year, if there is a crop failure, either due to natural factors such as drought, or heavy rains, or even market factors such as less demand. For example, there are sometimes, for mainly for crops such as onion and tomato, prices shoots up to rupees 100 or 150 rupees a kilo, or sometimes it gets very low. In those situations, when the market rate is low due to overproduction, also there is a loss for farmers. Again, when they have a crop failure or such losses, again they incur loss. Again, to compensate this loss, they go back to the money lenders for loans. This forms a vicious circle. This is known as a vicious circle. This similar things you can draw it as a diagram in veins and explain. So because of this vicious circle, they end up in poverty and high debt. And one of the primary reasons is lack of institutional credit. So because of this, they end up committing suicides. So another aspect is regarding the hidden groups and urban isolation. So homemakers and caregivers face high depression and abuse rates, often unrecorded. This is an important thing. And this is the recent phenomena which we are seeing is urban youth are increasingly seeking emotional support from the AI chatbots, indicating human disconnection. So instead of seeking help from the other humans, including their parents or their friends, they are seeking help from the chatbots. So we'll see the scale of mental health burden in India. So about 230 million Indians live with mental disorders, and there is about 70 to 92% treatment gaps. And WHO estimates that there are about 16.3 suicides per lakh, which is highest among the global. So these are also the data points which you can mention in mains. So we will also see about the gaps in system, what gaps we are having. There is shortage of professionals. Only about 0.75 psychiatrists per lakh we are having in India, who recommendation of minimum is 1.7. We don't even have the half of it. Second is inadequate infrastructure. We don't have we have poorly staffed institution. Also, there is weak school counseling. Most of us in schools, we rarely had any full-time counselors. Counseling was done by as a part-time by the teachers. In some cases, it might be effective, but in many cases, it might not. And especially regarding regarding today's youth, we need full-time counselors, which is highly lacking in school institutions. And also, there is issue of the Manodarpan scheme being largely inactive. This was an important scheme launched by the Ministry of Education as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Its aim was to provide psychosocial support for children, teachers, and parents, especially during COVID and post-COVID era. But this scheme largely, as of now, remains inactive. So another aspect is Mental Health Care Act of 2017 and also the National Suicide Prevention Strategy exist, but the implementation remains weak. One of the classical reasons in a weak, or you can say a classical feature of certain policies in India is the policy design is very good, but the policy implementation suffers. Second aspect is budget underutilization. So about 270 crores of mental health budget largely remains unspent. This is also an issue. You can see such issues across various schemes also. Many times the schemes are good, the budget allocation is also good, but unfortunately they are highly underutilized. And also regard to this suicide prevention helplines and all which we are seeing, it's largely based on the NGOs. We are in a way dependent on NGOs, not from direct government support. Next aspect is about the AI and mental health. So increasing use of AI platforms, for example, ChatGPT for emotional support. This has been the increasing trend which we are seeing now. This reflects institutional collapse and social isolation, not tech trust. That means this is not because people are more trusting the technology or the technology is highly effective, but mainly they are moving towards tech because there is a lack of institutional support, and even the social they also face social isolation. There is social structures such as family, even friendship, they are also collapsing, and people are not able to ask them for support. Instead, they end up going with the technology. So this results in need for stricter regulations, privacy safeguards, and crisis redirections. As we know, if we search anything in ChatGPT, the first thing it will say as a disclaimer or something, disclaimer is its responses are not 100% accurate. So when these people are accessing this, going to these chat box for help, they may not get a proper response or a correct response. This might sometimes even worsen the situation more. Something related to it, you can link it with the blue whale challenge, in which previously the younger children were being drawn into the challenge, and later as a part of the challenge itself, they had to commit suicide, and there was certain cases of it also in India. This is an example in which you can say, or you can use it as an example of how technology can be used in the wrong way, or technology, if not properly regulated, can cause such social harms. Now we will see the economic and social impacts. So mental illness may cost India $1 trillion by 2030. So we have a aim of becoming a $5 trillion economy, but this mental illness may itself cost $1 trillion to India. So employees lose over 1.1 lakh crore annually due to burnout and attrition. And suicide is the leading cause of death among the 15 to 29 years old. This is one of the unfortunate things which is happening in the society right now. And the prime reason why such young people are committing suicide is they feel they are unworthy. Now we'll see about the proposed interventions which can be taken for it. First one is treating the mental health as a national emergency. This is very important. The situation is very grave and we need a national response for it. Even the economic survey of 23-24 mentions that we need a paradigm shift in tackling mental health and it requires a bottom-up and a collective approach. Next is cross-ministerial task force spanning health, education, agriculture, and women's welfare. Because suicides is happening across all these sectors, so we need a cross-ministerial task force. Another important thing is to have a 3 to professionals per lakh population within 5 years, not just dependent upon the NGOs. The government can partner with these NGOs, but still we need about 3 to 4 professionals per lakh population within 5 years. Then is important thing is about institutional counseling. Every school, college, and district hospitals must have a trained counselors. Presently, this is lacking. Steps are being taken in it, especially in private institutions. We need to further strengthen it. So, and there is a need for public awareness. Important aspect is to destigmatize mental health and promote recovery stories. So, what we can do? Suppose if we are facing certain mental health issues, we can approach our friend or our family members. That's the first thing we can do. We don't need to feel shy or feel unworthy, etc. And as a friend or as a family member, when someone is seeking your help, first thing to do is to listen to them, to help them out. Don't shame them. Most of the times, when they just need a person to listen to their issues. So just listen to them. We don't need to provide solutions for it because we are not capable for it. Then we can refer to them to trained professionals, psychiatrists or doctors or counselors. The first thing, but ensure that we first listen to them empathetically. Second aspect is addressing the high risk groups. So we need a target outreach for farmers, homemakers, students, and caregivers. So that's it for this topic. We'll see a mains practice question with regard to it. So the question is, India's mental health crisis is a silent epidemic affecting all sections of society from farmers and students to homemakers and urban professionals. Critically examine the underlying causes of mental health challenges in India. Suggest measures to strengthen mental health care system in India. It's of 15 marks, 250 words. So there are two parts. First one is to critically examine the underlying causes, and next is to suggest the measures. So you can introduce about the mental health. You can, as mentioned in the previous slides, you can talk about the number of suicides happening, or you can talk about the report, or you can just give an introduction about what is mental health example. Then you can directly jump to the main demand of the question. They are asking the underlying causes. So causes you can mention as lack of for like agrarian distresses for farmers. You can talk about the debt trap which they are facing, lack of institutional credit, etc. For students and for some people, you can talk about lack of family support, breakdown of family structure. Even in a way, you can link it with society and say that we are going from larger to nuclear families. We are not having a large family as our previous generation used to have, joint family as our previous generation used to have. In a way, you can also link that aspect to lack of family support. Then you can also talk about poverty, unemployment. There are even suicides because of unemployment. These are the things which you can talk about. Then also another thing you can include is substance abuse and domestic violence. These are the things you can use as mention as causes for mental health challenges. Then measures, as we mentioned, then directly write about the measures. As we mentioned in the previous slide, you can talk about improving the number of psychiatrists, which are counselors, which we have in our country, promoting awareness among people so that they can call the helpline and get the help, destigmatizing this mental health among the population, and these are the things which you can mention it, and end it in the optimistic way. Don't end it in a negative way. That's one of the main things which you need to ensure while you are writing a mains answer. So that's it for this topic. We'll move on to the next topic. Now we will see about the United Nations Peacekeeping Force. They are also known as the blue helmets because of the blue color helmets which they wear. So it's in news because the US has committed that it will be committing about $680 million for the peacekeeping efforts. This is comparatively less compared to the last year's funding of $1 million. So around 13,000 to 14,000 military and police personnel out of more than 50,000 peacekeepers deployed across 9 global missions will be sent back to their home countries. And this comes as the UN plans to cut about 15% of the peacekeeping forces $5.4 billion budget for the next year. So we'll see the overview of this force. So UN peacekeeping is a collective security mechanism under the United Nations to help countries torn by conflict transition to peace. So its purpose is to maintain international peace and security by assisting in implementing peace agreements, protecting civilians, supporting elections, and promoting human rights and the rule of law. So this is an important statement. This can be used as an introduction when you have questions related to it in mains exam. So we will see about this composition. So it's comprised of military, police, and civilian personnel contributed by the member states. So one thing to note is it's not just about the military and police personnel, but also civilian personnel. There is also known as another aspect of troop contributing countries, that is nations, voluntaries, and personnel. So another important thing is the UN does not have its own army, but rather this peacekeeping force is based on the voluntary contributions of personnel from the member countries. Then the UN peacekeepers operate under the UN flag and follow the mandates authorized by the UNSC, that is the United Nations Security Council. So one important distinction is its mandate is approved by the United Nations Security Council, but whereas the budget is approved by the General Assembly. This is an important point which can be asked as a statement in prelims. Second is the peacekeeping budget is separate from the UN regular budget. This is also an important point which can be asked in prelims. And each member states contribute according to an assessed scale. So there is no uniform contribution. So these are the important points which can be directly asked as a statement in prelims. So these are the top 5 contributors as per the 24 to 25. This is also taken from the official website. The first is US, second is China, third is Japan, fourth is Germany, and fifth is UK. So US and China are the main contributors. So currently this information is also taken from the official website. So currently there are 11 peacekeeping operations led by the Department of Peace Operations. One important thing to note is there is an operation in India also, in the sea near the LOC. So it is the United Nations Military Observer Group in India and Pakistan. So it's observing the ceasefire in Jammu and Kashmir. So we will see the India and the UN peacekeeping. This is an important topic and can be useful for mains. So India is among the largest troop contributing countries to the UN missions. This is one important point. So this is one of the reasons, or we can say why we are possible argument which we can say why we are eligible to become a permanent member. So even though we might be not contributing as the largest in funds, but we are the largest contributor in terms of troops. It's an important point. So over 2,75,000 Indian troops have served in over 50 missions since 1948. So Indian contingents serve in Congo, South Sudan, Lebanon, and in other areas. Presently about 5,000 military personnel, presently about 5,000 personnel are serving in various missions, and India also deployed all all-women police contingent to Liberia. So Indian peacekeepers have also received UN medals for gallantry and posthumous honors for their sacrifice. So with regard to these topics, you can be asked questions in both prelims as well as mains. In prelims, you can be asked questions about the UN, the various organs of UN, questions related to the P5 countries and non-permanent countries, how the non-permanent countries are selected, the voting patterns in General Assembly, etc. In mains, you can be asked the questions that related to the effectiveness of UN or the reasons why India is eligible to become a permanent member. So these are the ways in questions can be asked. Now we'll see a practice question, prelims practice question with regard to this topic. So with reference to United Nations Peacekeeping Forces, consider the following statements. It is for the Security Council to determine when and where a UN peace operation should be deployed. Yes, this is correct. India has been one of the largest contributors of troops to the UN peacekeeping missions. Yes, this is also correct. The funding of UN peacekeeping operations is shared equally by all UN member states. Now this is incorrect. So don't jump into marking option B 1 and 2. This is how the trap will be in questions. They are asking the incorrect statements. So generally, if you miss it out, there is a possibility that you may have a trap is set similar to it. So they are asking the incorrect statements. So the answer will be option C, 3 only. Ensure that you are not making such blunders in the exam. So that's it for this topic. We'll move on to the next topic. In this article, we'll be seeing about the rare earth elements. So the rare earth elements are a group of 17 metallic elements critical for modern technology. These include the 15 lanthanides and scandium and yttrium. So one important aspect which we need to know is the periodic table properties. That is the properties across the period and down the group. Second aspect is which can be directly asked in science and tech under science and tech in prelims is the difference between isotopes, isobars, etc. So we will see the applications of rare earth elements. The first one is in electronics. So it's widely used in the manufacturing of laptops, smartphones, tablets, etc. In green energy sectors, it's used for the manufacturing of solar panels. It's also used in batteries for EVs, and in healthcare, it is used in MRI and also in cancer therapies. In industry, it's used as a catalyst, and in defense sectors, it's widely used for the production of radars, sonars, and even the stealth technology which is used in aircraft. For example, now we are talking about fifth generation and sixth generation aircraft. There, one of the striking feature is the stealth technology. Even for those stealth technologies, these rare earth elements are used. So this is a table which shows the ranking of countries based on their percentage of world reserve and their share in global production in rare earth elements. One important note is this is not an official ranking. This source from internet. There can be changes in this ranking. So, but two important things to notice: the position of China and India. So China has about 40% of reserves, and it accounts for about 70% of global production. And India, in spite of having 8%, accounts for less than 1% of global production. So two things can be inferred. At present, China is the dominant one in the global production of rare earth elements. So in a way, the world is dependent upon China. Second aspect is India, in spite of having about 8% of reserves, they are producing less than 1%. So for this, we can link it with circular economy. So we have this e-waste management. So if this rare earth elements are recovered effectively from this e-waste, so it can help with regard to self-sufficiency in rare earth elements. So in this way, you can link it with the circular economy and e-waste management. So we'll see this. India has about 6 to 8% of global rare earth reserves, and mainly it's found in monazite sands along the eastern and southern coasts. This monazite sands is very important. Yes, you guessed it right. It's also where the thorium is found. So when you talk about thorium, immediately you should be linking with the India's 3-stage nuclear program. It's a very important topic, can be asked in both prelims as well as mains. So we'll see the recent developments or initiatives which India has taken regarding this rare earth elements. The first one is critical minerals list, which was released in 2023. So India released its first critical minerals list, about 30 minerals, which includes the rare earth elements, lithium, cobalt, nickel, and graphite. Its aim is to guide exploration and supply chain policy. So this is a list of those 30 elements. We cannot remember all these elements, but we can see which are not a part of it. For example, gold and silver are not a part of it. So in this way, we will be able to, if possibly this list won't be asked, but if they asked, we know that like important ones like gold, silver is not present in it. With that, we can possibly eliminate some options. So second one is in Japan, India, and the US and Australia, that is the Quad countries, signed an agreement for cooperation in procuring rare earths, reinforcing multilateral supply chain resilience. As we've seen before, at present, the world is mainly dependent upon China. So another aspect is India participates in Mineral Security Partnership 2020 along with the US, Japan, and EU partners. Its objective is to diversify global supply chains for critical minerals. So we'll see a previous year question regard to the rare earth elements. It was asked in 2012. Recently, there has been a concern over short supply of group of elements called the rare earth metals. Why? The first statement is China, which is the largest producer of these elements, has imposed some restrictions on their export. Yes, this is correct. Even at that time, there were some restrictions being imposed by the China. So, second point is other than China, Australia, Canada, and Chile. Other than China, Australia, Canada, and Chile, these elements are not found in any country. No, this is incorrect. Rare earth metals are essential for manufacture of various kinds of electronic items, and there is a growing demand for these elements. Yes, this is also correct. And one more important point is, since the rare earth elements are very important in this present day for energy transition and digital economy, they are also known as the 21st century oil. So, while coming back to this question, they asked to find the correct statements. So, the answer will be option C, 1 and 3 only. So, yes, the answer is 1 and 3. So, with regard to this, you can be asked a prelims question, where also you can be asked mains question, how we can be improve our self-sufficiency rare earth elements, and the points which I had discussed before can be used as an examples like the circular economy or the e-waste management, why it is important, and you can link it with this rare earth elements in the if they ask in a question, and even quote as examples or suggestive measures. So that's it for this topic. We'll move on to the next topic. Now we will see prelims focus. These are short note topics which will be useful for both prelims as well as mains. So the first topic is regarding the National Post Day. So it's celebrated annually on 10th of October and is an extension of World Post Day. The World Post Day is celebrated on 9th of October, and its aim is to mark the role played by the Indian Postal Department over 150 years. So next topic is regarding the Indian Postal Service. So through the UPSC Civil Services exams, you also get into Indian Postal Group A of Indian Postal Service based on your preference and rank. So we'll see about this Indian Postal Service. So it's introduced by the British. So the founder in 1854 by Lord Dalhousie. So another aspect which you can link with Lord Dalhousie is doctrine of lapse. So it currently functions under the Ministry of Communications, and India has about 23 postal circles. In addition, there is a base circle to cater the needs of armed forces, and there are 9 postal zones. 8 are for civilian purposes and 1 is for armed forces. So and follows a 6-digit pin code system which was introduced in 1972. So this 1972 year is also important. There is also an act, important act which was passed in this year. Please comment about it in the comment section. So next we will see the service provided by the Indian Postal Service. It delivers mail, remits money in the form of money orders and discharges government services such as payment of pensions to senior and retired citizens, and it also offers small savings schemes, life insurance coverage under postal life insurance and rural post life insurance. Another one advantage of it is when we are linking with Indian Post Payment Bank. So one of the greatest advantage of IPPB is that last mile connectivity. So we will see next about the iGOT Karmayogi. So iGOT stands for Integrated Government Online Training. So we will see about this article. So it's about iGOT Karmayogi platform is a part of Mission Karmayogi. So this Mission Karmayogi is very important. It can be asked in GS paper 2 and can be also asked in GS4, and also it's important for public administration optional students. So it's launched by the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pension. So basically one important aspect why Mission Karmayogi was launched was it was a capacity building for civil servants. So its aim is to serve as a digital backbone of mission, providing a comprehensive learning ecosystem accessible to civil servants across India. So the next article is about the 23rd edition of Bharat Telecom 2025. It's organized by the Telecom Equipment and Services Export Promotion Council. So more than 30 plus countries delegates are participating in it, and its aim is to serve as a dynamic platform for potential buyers and stakeholders from across the globe to explore India's growing telecom ecosystem. So next is about the 3rd edition of Purple Fest. So it's held in Panaji, Goa. It's organized by the state government's Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, and also gets supports from the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment and United Nations. And its objective is to encourage persons with disability to showcase their artistic talents. Now we will see a prelims practice question with regard to these topics. The question is, with reference to Mission Karmayogi, consider the following statements. The first statement, before reading the statements, it's always better to check whether they are asking correct or the incorrect statements. They are asking the correct statements. So the first statement is it's aimed to shift civil service training from rule-based to role-based approach. Yes, this is the important point. It's correct. This is also you can write as a point under Mission Karmayogi. Very important point. So second statement is the initiative is implemented by the Department of Personnel and Training, that's DOPT, under the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. Yes, this is also correct. The iGOT Karmayogi platform serves as a digital backbone for continuous learning and competency development for government officials. Yes, this is also correct. It's applicable only to officers of the All India Service. No, this is wrong. This is applicable to all civil servants. So they are asking the correct statements. So the answer will be option A, 1, 2, 1, 3 only. So that's it for this topic. That's it for today's discussion. If you liked this video and found it useful, please give your valuable feedback and do subscribe to our channel for regular updates. Thank you and have a great day.